So something I never thought I would say before, but I am enjoying training mode. It's something I've tried to avoid for a while. I used to always think being in game felt more productive, and maybe I gaslit myself into thinking that. And I always preached, spend some time in training mode, nail the stuff down, and then hop into games. And I was neglecting that training mode side of things. I'm not gonna lie. I've been dropping a bunch of combos. My Faust bread and butter, there's a specific spot in it I was just struggling with, specifically 5k into JK. I was dropping that because I wasn't inputting JK at the right time. I decided to hunker down, and I am going to work on my consistency, and I'm going to learn faultless drill cancels, or better known as FDCs. Before we talk about this journey that I have been going on recently, I guess we can call it that. Yeah, it's a little bit of a journey, or just like improvement arc. Before we get into that, I do have a Discord link down below. We have matchmaking roles, just general good time, positive community. We have a focus on plus R and MBAC. I recently added channels for Rev2 and Vampire Savior as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check it out. Alright, let's get back to talking about training mode. So the big thing that really pushed me to start grinding just my combos and movement in general is because I really felt like I hit a wall. And I was just frustrated with my damage output and having like hard times with matchups, and some matchups could be improved if I started implementing faultless drill cancels. And I was putting it off for a while. So the first thing I did was I started deep diving the dust loop of Faust. I'm just figuring out how can I get more damage, what are some openers, and just started working on those. I really grinded the crap out of bread and butter. I do not want to ever drop a 5k into JK again, because if I do, it leaves a bunch of damage on the table. I don't get good Oki, there's less item tossing, less chance for meteors. That's a big thing. I want to optimize my item, getting as many item toss or optimizing more damaging routes. And that is something I absolutely needed to work on. And the other thing was the FDCs. FDCs is essentially a way, if you're unfamiliar with plus R Faust, he can stop on a dime in the air. He jumps and then can input J2K, which on the first frame stops his momentum. But then you can FD or faultless defense afterwards in like the first 1 to 3 frames, and you get to cancel the move, and it just stops your momentum. And it's a lot of fun. I have found that I really enjoy grinding things related to movement. Being able to get super low to the ground, JHs covers a great amount of space. It's so good it's so good in matchups like versus Johnny or versus Justice. It's just a really good hitbox. And on top of that, I have started somewhat consistently being able to do the FDC JKs. It results in a very fast overhead. I've been able to get the overhead, but converting off the JK is something I've been having some issues with. But we're working on it, and I'm going to keep grinding that, because this game is very sick, and there's a lot of depth to it. And learning this movement tech, I don't know if it's right to call it a movement tech, I think so, but it just starts opening up the game a lot. And there's a ton of options, and I really do feel like implementing this into my game has really started a new path of improvement. For a lack of a better word, path of improvement? Yeah, let's just go with that. Plus R is a game I've been sort of struggling with because there's so many options. There's so much depth to each character, and the amount of tools presented to me is sort of overwhelming. There's some sessions where I'll play a ton of games, but I'll end up just not using certain tools that I probably should have been, and I just kind of forget about them. I have to take better notes. I think notes really help, just something I can glance at while I'm playing to remind me of certain things. I just need to put a section in my notes basically just talking about, hey, these are all the tools, remember these. And eventually I think my brain will start realizing, oh, these are the tools I have access to, this is what they're good for, please use them, don't forget about them, I am very important. So that's something I am focusing on recently. If you watch my grappler video, or just some of my streams, I have expressed interest in learning Potemkin, and that is something I have started. I have been grinding it quite a bit. I'm having a lot of fun with him. On the topic of grinding movement, he has something called hammerfall breaks, and getting used to a lot of his pokes and then charging while you do the pokes has been weird to me, but it is something that's very rewarding. If you're unfamiliar, Potemkin can, say, use like 5H or 2D, and typically those are like some decent pokes. If you special cancel them into Hammerfall, which is a charge back forward, so like in this case if you used 5H, you would hold 4H, so you get back, but 5H still comes out, and you special cancel it. I've been having a lot of issues with throwing out that move and then trying to input the charge input a little too early, end up just eating my own charge and nothing comes out, or worse, like a 6H comes out, I whiff and get punished for it. But if you do get the Hammerfall breaks, you get way more frame advantage. Certain moves now become plus on hit or block, and it's weird, but we are definitely learning, and I'm having a very good time in this process of just learning all of this stuff. And that just kind of, I just want to wrap it up saying it's very rewarding. Like this, spending a lot of time in training mode can be frustrating, but once you get into that feedback loop of grinding training mode, grinding movement, grinding tech, implementing it as muscle memory, then implementing it in real games, it feels really good, and you just can start looping it over and over and over again, and it really has improved my time with Plus R a lot. And I just want to keep unlocking new tools. I want to be consistent with all this stuff that I just thought was too hard for me. And this loop has become very addictive. I mean, that's what Plus R in general is, just very addictive. I love how deep this game is. And go play it. And if you want like other like movement focused games, I want to do an entire video on just like fighting game movement in general and what I love about it. I come from Smash, so I'm used to like wave dashing, Rivals of Aether, Project Plus also have sick movement. Movement tech is one of my favorite things in fighting games, and I am really enjoying grinding it. I'm not gonna lie. It's something I didn't think there was as much of, because, you know, coming from like a plat fighter where that's the entire premise of the game basically is movement into cool stuff, I am having a lot of fun with Plus R and the movement, just like using things like FD breaks, faultless drill cancels, hammerfall breaking, all this stuff, you know. I like neither Potemkin or Faust really do, you know, IAD stuff, but I'm thinking about learning Vampire Savior, and QB looks really interesting, so that's be like the first character I play that has a lot of instant air dash shenanigans. I'm looking forward to that. That looks a ton of fun. That game is fast. I know MBAC and Plus R are also considered fast, but Vampire Savior looks nutty, and I am looking forward to playing that. But let's wrap it up. I love movement, I love Plus R, and fighting games are so much fun, and I am glad to start enjoying my time in training mode more. I really feel like I'm getting a good grasp of the game, and it's a ton of fun. But as always, if you like this kind of content, drop a like, sub, comment, all that jazz. As always, keep pressing buttons and have a good rest of your day.